All right. Welcome to the Questionable Podcast. You got Scotty Questions here with Meko. What's good, man?
What's good, man?
Oh, nothing. Just a crazy Monday. Crazy Monday. But before we dig in, please like, follow, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Also, head over to questionabletees.com to get and cop any of the, in our opinion, the coolest Detroit merch we got that's out there. And
Absolutely.
man. So happy Monday.
Dude, I'm still adjusting to life without football on Sundays. Like it's not I don't know like how long it takes me to get like back into that groove of like, okay, there's no football, like not gonna think about it. It's crazy. My wife even came by and she was like, aren't you gonna watch football tonight? I'm like, there is no football.
There is no football, not yet. XFL coming.
Well, I mean, I guess there's the XFL. Yeah, I saw a
Right.
couple people talking about that. I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm gonna watch it. Like I'm not even
I'll start out watching it. I'm gonna try it. I will try it, but
I think because like everything in it is like because they have so many like different things going on in the XFL, like that's gonna serve as a distraction and that's gonna make it like not fun for me.
that's fair. That's fair. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a golfer, right? So we had the Genesis Invitational this weekend out in L.A.
Okay.
It was pretty entertaining on Saturday. Like John Rahm hit a ball off the stands, and then it bounced and
Hmm.
landed like a couple feet from the pin. Xander Schauffele slam dunked a ball from like 175 out, so it goes straight in the pin. And I think it was Tony Kim who was with him thought like he freaked out because it was like loud, kind of like a shot. He went off and he was like, "What?
Right.
What was that?" No, he slam dunked it anyway. Yeah, so happy Monday. Happy Monday. Crazy day here. We had a lot of drama in the Valley family today, but all's good. Everybody's okay. And one thing I want to jump into real quick, I want to talk about Skittles. I just had some yellow Skittles because it was like the last ones left. Don't sleep on those
Sure.
yellow Skittles. They're terrible, but you know what? Sometimes they're all right.
I mean, I'm more of an orange and
Oh yeah.
green Skittle guy.
Okay.
Like the orange and the lime smack every time. Like so there's never
The
like a bad
lime.
time with those
Right.
ones.
Don't sleep on the lime. I leave those till the end and then I eat them. I'm like, why didn't I start with that?
I
Um,
feel like grape is overhyped. Grape is a little like intrusive in the Skittle mix.
that's interesting. I have another pack here. I'm gonna dig in later. I'm gonna check it
Like
out.
literally pick
It's
up just like a random handful and like that grape is gonna punch you in the face and you'll be like, what? Why are you like overshadowing all the other flavors?
I got them right here.
Uh
We're not sponsored by Skittles either. This is just pure
this is
enjoyment.
just pure just
Pure enjoyment
in
here.
but
There are 3 grapes up in there. 3 grapes. Mostly 5 greens, 3 grapes, 2 reds. I got hosed. 2 reds, 4 orange, and 2 limes. Anyway,
yeah, nah, that's a
nah,
rough
that's a
that's a
bad
rough
one. I'm
pack.
not happy with that pack. Anyways, you're not here to listen to us talk about skills. We're going to talk about some Lions today. We're going to talk about the defense, right? But first, I think we can hop right in, Meko. You want to lead us off here?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to be a pretty defensive heavy podcast. And I think we got to start it off with some of the news that happened on the defensive side of the ball with
I
the
know.
Lions losing another position coach in Todd Wash. And he's also heading to Carolina, joining Deuce Staley and the Carolina Panthers. I saw someone say it on Twitter where it's like, it looks like the Panthers are like copying the Lions, like step for step in how they're rebuilding their team.
That's what it feels
Um,
like.
at least with their coaching staff, right? And I'm this one caught me like clear off guard. Like I know we said that when it came to Deuce, this one really caught me off guard because Deuce, like as like news came in fairly quickly, like Deuce has like family concerns, there's other things going on with Deuce other than just like he's not happy here. That's not why he left. This one really felt like this is such a lateral move for Todd Wash to go from coaching the Lions defensive line to now coaching Carolina's. Um, I think Aiden Hutchinson, like the Lions had recently dropped an interview with him and Tim Twentyman, where Aiden was like literally praising Todd Walsh about just the job he had done with that group. And so, not gonna lie, it's a little bit of a gut punch on like you're losing a position coach that apparently was having a really good impact on these younger defensive linemen.
Yeah, that line got better as the season went on. Yeah, that's we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, I think that's a hit a little bit, maybe a lot bit.
Hmm.
But I was listening, and I didn't know. I mean, he has, I think it was like or six contacts that he's worked with before. The GM, the
Hmm.
DC, his assistant, and so it makes sense. But yeah, when you put it that way, like Panthers, trying to, it's a copycat league, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, good for them, I guess, right?
No, like I mean, again, if it worked for them, and obviously, like you don't wish ill will on anybody, especially these coaches who again did an amazing job here. Like we don't wish them ill will, but it is like a little bit of a shocker where it's like, well, the first thought is like, yo, Carolina, like leave us alone, like stop touching our
Stop.
things.
Stop.
Like
Stop
it's
it.
absolutely like you're just like popping their hand, like stop it, like
Right.
eat. It's like when you take your girlfriend out and she starts like picking at your plate. It's like, yo, like you got food too. Eat yours. Like
No, get out
stop
of here.
picking at my.
Get out of here. Get out of here. All right,
But
yeah. So thanks for everybody for listening in too. Yeah, put your questions in the chat there. What's up, Lions Talk? What up, though? Back at you.
yeah, like it's a little jaunt, like it's a little bit of a jolt at first glance that like, yo, we're losing a defensive line coach. And I mean, at least from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything specific that maybe like is a clear cut reason of why he's leaving. Because again, it's very much a lateral move. You're coaching the same group of players. Um, I do know there's a little more like of a veteran presence in Carolina. He'll get to work with Derek Brown. There's a couple other guys that have been around a little bit longer. So maybe it's a thing of like, hey, you don't have to work with, first and second and third year guys. You get to work with some guys that are a little more established. Maybe you guys can, it's a defensive style that plays itself to his strength as a coach a little bit more. Who knows? But it's going to be interesting to see how the Lions address that position, like who they promote or who they hire to kind of coach this defensive line.
Yeah, because we're gonna need somebody solid. I mean, we still got work to do, right? I mean, we depending on
Are
who
there
we
any like
draft.
are there any other former Lions that could like come back and coach the D line at this point?
I don't. It's a good question.
Nick Fairley is Nick Fairley doing anything these days?
I don't know what he's up to. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, how concerned am I with this move? Yeah, I think I'm more concerned about this than this is the most concerning thing to this point, right? In regards to the
Yeah.
coaching staff, this is I'm getting to a level of like, there has been a flag raised, right? Flags have been raised now. Like, okay, what are we gonna do now? I have faith in DC to get the right guys in position there. I do think we have enough, and I think our coaching staff is great. So I'm not hugely concerned, but it is something that this will
Yeah.
happen next year too, right? We're gonna have to talk about this next year seriously, right? Ben
Well, yeah,
Johnson and as we get
yeah.
better, it's just gonna happen. So don't think it's the end of the world, but he was good, so it does hurt to lose him.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. Like that
Bring
is
back
the trend
Titus
of
Young.
yeah, I saw that too. Like absolutely not Lions talk. We are not bringing back Titus Young. Um hope Titus is doing well in
Right,
with
right.
his issues, but absolutely not. Um but no, like that's the trend of when you find success in the league is that like teams start looking at your coaching staff, and especially when you have such a young coaching staff and when you have you know younger people in those positions that like hey they can still grow and they can still develop, and so maybe there's something that another coach can pull out of them and really help them reach new heights. So like I get it, it's all part of the game. um Again, jokingly, like, yo, Carolina, stop touching our stuff. But again, that's the nature of how this business works. And now it's Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and the rest of that coaching staff's job to go out there and find a new D line coach and figure out like who do you think is going to work well with this young crop of talent and continue to help, guys like Aiden Hutchinson and James Houston and Josh Pascal, and even Aline, who will be going in his third year, but like those young pieces continuing to help them develop so that this defensive line can be a more consistent strength going into next season.
Yeah,
I
man.
really am like I'm like curious. Like is Sean Rogers like still like, out and about? Like is he has he picked up coaching at all? Like I don't know. Is Sue hanging it up? Maybe he'd want to come back and coach a little.
I
Like
was gonna say Sue earlier, but I didn't. I didn't. I held back. I'm glad you did. I don't
but
know.
yeah, like it's
No, he's gonna hold
I
out,
I
try and get
I have
another
I
Super
have
Bowl.
I do have faith in Brad Holmes. I mean, not Brad Holmes. Well, Brad Holmes as well, but Dan Campbell to go out and find a replacement for Todd Wash. So I'm concerned in the sense of just development. Like I'm concerned about these guys' development and having to hear a new voice and hopefully somebody that can be patient and like pay attention to those small details to help them progress. But it's kind of very similar to when we brought in Dre Bly when I was like, I'm not going to overreact because at the end of the day, it's still Aaron Glenn's defense and Aaron Glenn's principles and methodology on how he wants his defense to play is still going to be like the resounding thought process for that side of the ball. So as long as AG's there, there's a little bit of solace in how this defense is going to perform. But absolutely, like you kind of do. You kind of clutch your pearls a little bit when you find out that your D line coach is leaving.
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, it is a compliment to what they're doing, but yeah, I just don't even know what they're gonna do. I was just reading a couple things. I don't even know. I don't know. We'll find out, right?
Yeah.
It's like trust in DC right now. So that's where we're at with that. Um, just don't
Yeah.
take Brad Holmes. Yeah, please don't. Yeah, I think he's sticking around, but
Mark LeBay has a really good question in the chat. Will the Lions pick up a D tackle or a cornerback in free agency, or are they going to focus on re-signing their own free agents and addressing all other needs on the in the draft?
ooh,
What's your
Mark.
take?
Yeah, so I mean, I think they need to try. It's like I think we need to try. I don't think we can get it all in the draft. I mean, I think we can get some young talent, but we need some veterans. We we need to we really we should, and I hope they do. Um,
I, yeah, I think it's a given. I think in
yeah, we
my
kind of
mind, I
have to.
think you need a veteran. I think you could use a veteran in each of those spots,
Yeah,
right? So if you could get a veteran D tackle and you can get a veteran cornerback to add to that group, just again to have that veteran leadership, because even if you go out and draft a corner, again, your most like seasoned corner will be Jeff Okuda, who's really only played one season.
right.
Like that's not enough. And again, I still think Jeff can like rebound after this year. I mean, he's came back from the Achilles. He's going to be obviously chomping at the bit to prove that like he can play even better and that the first half of the season is more in line with how he wants to play. But you still could use another veteran presence. Mike Hughes was a little bit of that, but again, he was even up and down. So I think there are some big moves that the Lions could make at both of those positions. It's just a matter of, again, we've seen Brad Holmes bargain bin shop when it comes to free agency so far. And again, he's been great at it, but I'm kind of like holding my breath on like any type of thought process that he's going to go out and spend big. I would love him to go out and
I
spend big on Deron Payne
I,
if he's a free agent. Like
I
throw the
think
bag at that guy.
I think it's time to go big. I think we're there. We got to start doing it at some point. We just can't bargain bin shop forever. I mean, I think
Well,
it's time. I mean, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, absolutely. I think especially when there's talent there, when there's especially young talent, like Deron Payne is still very young. So it's not like you're going out and spending a ton of money on a 30, 32-year-old defensive tackle. And the same could be said for a corner. I'm not asking you to go out and spend millions of dollars on a 30-year-old corner. But if you can go out there and you can make a very competitive offer against for Deron Payne, immediately bolster your defensive line in the middle, put that type of player next to Aleem, and then maybe make some magic happen in the draft. Because like one of the big talking points, at least so far as rumors, is like, yo, what if the Lions make a run at Jalen Ramsey? Well, now you've added two key defensive like players on to your defense that can like take you from being one of those bottom defenses to maybe at least middle of the pack at the
Right, and
very least, if not
we
top
have
tier.
Tracy Walker coming back too, right? I mean,
Tracy Walker coming back, Aiden taking a step forward, James Houston hopefully taking a step forward, Josh Pascal hopefully taking a step
I
forward.
mean
So like there's a
everybody, yeah.
lot of stuff. Yeah, there's a
How
lot of stuff
come?
that you could do there. And then you just go into the draft and you're finding young pieces that you can kind of plug and play a couple places and maybe you address the linebacker position. we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but
Just slightly, but you
just
know what?
slightly.
Hey, man, we all do that as Lions fans, so that's what's up. Yeah. So to answer that question, yeah, I think they have to try and make some moves. I do, and I don't know. We're not going to get into the draft talk yet, but we're getting that a little bit. But
I mean, I was gonna say we're about to a little bit right now
yeah,
because Todd McShay dropped a mock draft last week that I absolutely hate. I absolutely hate it.
I didn't like it either.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's early, so like any mock draft isn't like there's no reason
But
to
who
overreact to.
who did the mock draft where they picked a cornerback at 6?
Everybody's been doing that though.
Oh God, what the most recent one? I forget who it was. It was like I thought it was like this weekend, but
I mean, like everybody's literally doing mock drafts like at any like every day basically. So,
right.
you know,
Yeah, but
we
not at
won't react
6.
to
Come
every
on.
single one of them,
Not
but
at
I think
6. Get
like
out of here with that.
really,
Yeah.
because
No.
like so if it's all right, because this is my thing.
All
So
right, let's go.
looking
Let's
at
dig in.
let's look at Todd McShay's mock draft. So Todd McShay at 6 was picking defensive end Miles Murphy out of Clemson. You're saying that like okay, so not corner at 6. I'm saying not defensive end at 6 because I think your defensive end group as of right now is stacked. So if we're both saying not defense, if I'm saying not defensive end, you're saying not corner, what group would you want them to address? And then I'll tell you what group I would think that they should address at 6.
DT.
You think DT?
I do. I mean, who like I gotta pop it back up. I gotta pop back up who was taken in his draft.
Yeah. No, I think DT, I think is ideal. Like I don't think it's definitely a need, right? Especially if you don't go out and spend, and especially if you don't go out there and get a Deron Payne. Then yeah, I think defensive tackle could still be a need because as good as Aleem has been the last few years and as solid as Isaiah Buggs was last year, you could still use a game record in the middle.
I want that game wrecker, and I do want depth there.
I just don't know if there is one at 6 because I feel like the gap between Jalen Carter out of Georgia and the next defensive tackle is huge. Like I think it's almost very reminiscent of I don't know last year where like I thought there was a pretty big gap between like Sauce and the next guy. I know Derek Stingley still went fairly high, but I thought there was like a clear
I
gap.
mean, I think you're right about that. You're right on
Especially when
that.
you see, yeah, especially when you see how things played out at the end of the year. Like Sauce was head and shoulders above every other corner that came out in that draft, maybe except for Tariq Woolen, depending on your preference. But Sauce still walked away with that trophy at the end of the year and made all pro and all those things. Um, but I think like some of the defensive tackles you look at after, Jalen Carter, uh, you have Kalijah Kancey out of Pitt, and then you have
You don't think Carter's that much better?
I think Carter's way better.
Right. That's what I mean. So
I think he's way better.
I mean, I don't know. Okay. All right. Then I'm jumping around today.
Go ahead.
Because all right, let's say we move up to 4.
So you're saying okay, yeah.
If we move up though,
Mhm.
do you at 4, I mean, what would be the difference for going 4 to 3? The Cardinals
From
and
4 to
the
6?
Bears. Sorry, 6 to 4 or 6 to 3. I mean, Will Anderson or Jalen Carter in that.
I mean,
if you were going to move to get one, would you Will Anderson?
No, I'd move to get Jalen Carter. If you're going to move from
Right.
6 to 4 or 6 to 3, it has to be for Jalen Carter.
All right, that's what I'm saying, because that's what I feel like. Because, like I said, for the free agency, if we're gonna start making moves, let's make moves, right? I mean, can you? So then to do that, let's just say at 4.
I mean,
the Bears.
I mean, yeah.
Are they gonna really do like?
I mean, I think so if the Bears trade down with the Colts, which is what Todd McShay has been doing,
yeah.
And Jalen Carter is still on the board.
Yeah.
Oh, you jump the Bears. You find a way to jump the Bears to get Jalen Carter.
Yes, we'd have to go to 3. Or give more to Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, because I mean, Again, if you get Will
That's a
Anderson, I don't
lot,
think it's the
though.
worst. I don't think it's the end of the world, but I don't think Will Anderson makes it to 6, even if Jalen Carter goes above him. Like I think then you run into a situation where Seattle takes him at 5.
I just don't think the Bears trade back. I just don't think they do it. I know they talk about it now, but like trading out of the first pick, I just don't. When was the last time that happened?
When the Bears went from 2 to 1 for Mitchell Trubisky.
So never mind. It's in their DNA. So yeah, you're right. They will move.
But no, like I
Oh,
think
forget the Bears.
if Indianapolis is going to give you a king's ransom, then absolutely you go from 1 to 4 and you just keep your fingers crossed that you get a Will Anderson or a Jalen Carter. You're not getting both. Like you're one of them is going to be gone because
Right.
Arizona is going to take one of those players
Correct.
at 3.
Right.
So you get the pick of Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. I think at that point in time, like, yeah, the Lions are kind of stuck.
That's why it just feels like very much a
Because you'd have to,
tweener, a
honestly, you'd have to come up to
tweener
2.
situation. It's a tweener situation. What'd you say?
I said, I feel like at that point in time, the Lions would have to go to 2
I kind of, and I don't think they're
because
gonna.
I
I don't
don't,
think they're willing to do that. I just don't see
well,
them
no,
doing
because
that.
that's, no, because that's, again, you're talking about a king's ransom to get
No, they won't do that.
arguably the best player in the draft. And you're like, yeah, that's just not going to happen. I think the Lions would just figure out a way to build in other areas. So you think defensive tackle. I think corner is not out of the realm of possibility. And this is why positional value is stupid to me. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it. I think it's dumb because if if you believe the best player for your team is available at 6, why would you risk trading back too far or taking a position that maybe isn't as big of a need just because you don't like the value of corner, which is essentially what Todd McShay did in this draft. He agrees that corner is a need because that's who he picks with his second pick with Keely Ringo out of Georgia
Yeah.
at 18. But Keely Ringo is easily in his already, like you've heard draft experts already say that he's fallen down draft boards. So you're talking about the 4th, maybe even 5th best corner because because you didn't like the value of a corner at 6 when you could have just got the best corner and then whatever the hell you wanted to do at 18. Like we can debate that, but we will debate that all off season as far as what you want to do at 18. But I think you take the best corner. If you have that, if that is your need, if that is your
So,
number one need, you take the best
all
corner.
right. So, and the only thing why okay is okay. I trust Brad Holmes' assessment of the players he's drafted so far. So if he believes, and this is really annoying and hard for me to do, but if they
Yeah.
believe that they have the best grade on, on one of the players, it's a cornerback at that point, I'd have to trust him. I wouldn't like it until, because I'm not going to know. We're not going to know till mid-end
I can
season. But like,
you know
it's a whole, oh,
you know what
I'm,
vibe you're giving me right now? You know what
what,
vibe you're giving me?
John?
No, no, because John would be on my side with this, first of all.
What?
If he wasn't. You're giving me the vibe of someone who has not watched Devin Witherspoon's highlight reel yet.
Okay, I have not.
You have not watched Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback out of Illinois. When we get off this podcast, that is your homework,
I'll
is to
watch it.
watch him.
I'll
Because
check it out
you'll
right now.
feel different. You will feel different about them taking a corner at 6. I'm not saying that he's sauce. I'm not saying that. But again, I'm just talking about the importance of you have a need. Why ignore that need for a player that, again, Miles Murphy is fine. Like arguably he put it this way, if you loved Aiden so much, the Lions loved Aiden so much last year, Miles Murphy is similar in play style, not similar in production. Aiden has had way more production his last year at Michigan than Miles Murphy has had probably his entire career. But they play the same type of style. If you're looking for someone that's relentless, if you're looking for someone that's strong, if you're looking for somebody that can, you know, push the pocket from the edge, he does those things. And he does it from a 4-point stance a little bit better than
Oh,
like
I have seen
better
this.
than it.
I have seen this highlight reel. So yes. So for those out there that think no, I have seen it. Apologies. No, because I remember that
But
first hit. Yeah.
yeah,
No.
so But yeah, like so there's nothing wrong with Miles Murphy at 6. I just think you have a crowded defensive end room right now. You have Aiden, you have James Houston, you have Romeo, you have Julian, you have Charles Harris, and Josh Pascal can play edge as well and in certain packages in certain situations, and so can John Kaminsky. So it's like you have a lot of edge players. Granted, that means probably somebody's getting cut. But I don't know. I feel like a black mom when you ask her, can we have McDonald's? And you're like, you got McDonald's at home. That's what I feel like when it comes to Miles Murphy. Like if it's like, I want Miles Murphy, you have Miles Murphy at home. It's Aiden Hutchinson. Same dude. And actually, Aiden Hutchinson is like a better version of Miles Murphy.
All right.
So
I think here's the other thing too, free agency, right? If we do, I mean, I'm not saying that Ramsey happens, but let's say that happens. Does that change anything?
well, yeah, because if you make a play for Ramsey, you're
saying.
probably giving up 6. Would you give the Rams 6 back for Jalen Ramsey?
No. No. No.
Why not? You get Jalen Ramsey, and you can still probably pick another corner at 18. The Lions need two corners.
I'll give him 18. I'm not giving him 6. And be like,
they're gonna want 6.
Your mistake. Your mistake.
I mean, it is their mistake.
Right. I would give him 18 and then maybe a third.
It's gonna be to. Yeah, probably.
If I had,
I mean, if I could get away with it, I would. Yeah, I would give them 18 and a third.
You owe us one. You won a Super Bowl. Give us this. Now, then we're even. Then we'll call it a day.
I mean, they gave us technically JMO. Technically.
That's fair.
Because that was where that other first round pick came from.
Yeah. Okay. And then give us Ramsey and call it a day. Fine. Deal. We took Goff off your hands and we fixed him. The Lions Rehab Center.
That's true. That probably is worth that's worth a lot.
It is. We don't need to get into that today. We're talking defense, but I want to talk about that next week actually.
Yeah.
A little bit. No, compare him to Eli Manning Jr. over in New York.
Oh, Daniel, pay me my money, Jones.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a new agent, and you're gonna pay me my money because you're locked in. I think they're going to. They have to. What are they?
No, they don't. They can franchise tag him.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well.
I mean, then you might run the risk of getting in the Kirk Cousins situation, but I'd take that gamble any day with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I probably would too. That's why I'm like, it just sounds like there's the headache starting right there. There's the headache. Goff better not become a headache. He better not want his money.
No.
No.
But I want to talk about going back to McShay's mock draft. So at 18, he has him taking Kelee Ringo. Like I said, again, corner is a need. My only issue is that you bypass taking one of the better corners for taking a corner that has some clear warts. It's not. He has the size, he has the physicality. He probably even has the athleticism, but I think I even saw one scout basically say Kelee Ringo is like an athlete who's playing corner. He's not a natural corner, and that can be a problem. I think that's when you find yourself in situations like you did kind of with Amani Oruwariye, where has the measurables, has all these athletic traits, but can he play corner cleanly and not deal with pass interference situations, not hold, not do those types of things? Or is he just going to be out there grabbing every 5 seconds?
I don't want them to get projects. Like best player, don't get the projects, please. I do not want projects. We do not need to test. We need to get
not in the first round.
Right. Please just get players that will be able to contribute immediately. We saw, yes, JMO. I like the reach for that. I think that was a unique situation. I thought that was interesting. But we haven't seen it yet, right? He didn't really help this year, right? He was injured.
No, he's still,
get it. But we gotta keep the needle moving as for the team, for everybody. We got to keep this train going forward. So I do not want the projects. I do not want that. And that's the only thing. I don't think that Brad Holmes thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, like Patricia did. So
sure,
and those guys, but I just don't want him to go there, right? You know how you can start feeling yourself after a little bit, no, I got it. I don't think he
Yeah.
will. I hope he doesn't, but that is always something. You know, you're not perfect. So let's be solid. You know, and again, I love draft talk and I hate it because, well, you know, it's their decision.
I mean, it is, but I think like
I mean, we
to
can.
your point about Brad Holmes, like so far what Brad Holmes has proven in the first round is that he doesn't take projects. He takes proven commodities who have a track record of performing in college. So you look at Panay, you look at Aiden, you look at JMO. These guys were highly productive in college, and they were almost like layup decisions. I mean, obviously he went and got JMO. Like that was, a gamble and a half to go out and get JMO. But that's what makes me feel fairly confident that like when it comes to six, like he's going to take someone that is fairly proven, someone who's fairly like consistent in their play. And I don't think he's going to like care one way or another what the position is. I don't think he's going to be like, well, we can't take a corner at six because it's a corner. I think he's going to be like, if the corner is our best rated player, like that's who we're taking. Um, and the same thing with 18. I think at 18, like whatever may be the case, whether it's a corner, whether it's a second corner, whether it's a defensive tackle, hell, whether it's an offensive lineman. Because I was saying last week, I think they can wait to like the middle to late rounds to take an offensive lineman, just because you can always find Pro Bowl offensive linemen in the middle rounds. But I mean, like Don Burr said, like corner is pretty deep in this draft as well. DB is very deep, so maybe
Deep.
they could get one in the fourth, fifth, sixth round, and kind of strike gold again like they did with Kirby. Maybe they can. I'm just simply saying that if like don't not take a corner at six just because it's a corner. Like that's I don't know. I think it's really ridiculous
I think
reasoning.
that's fair. I think that's fair. Your assessment, just because it's a corner, don't take a corner and the value. But if we need it, you know, grab him. If it's the best rated player available, by Holmes and and company, I trust them. Right? We can't not trust them. Double negative. Anyway, you get my point.
No, I get your point. One point that I don't get, shifting gears a little bit, is so have you heard of the 33rd team? They're kind of like
Yeah,
this new like platform that goes out there. They have, I think
yeah.
Amon Ra has his podcast with them. Uh so
Shout
they
out,
had a post recently.
shout out to Amon Ra trying to pitch Ramsey, getting him.
Hey, listen, we need all the help we can get if we're gonna get some of these like high profile players to come to Detroit. But they recently had a post over the weekend where they were basically like grading all the teams like off of their season. Um and this kind of like shocked me a little bit. They gave the Lions an A minus for the season.
Was Amon Ra writing the article? Kidding.
I feel like somebody in the Lions community had to have wrote this
It's
article,
just
because I have to ask you, like, too high, too low?
A
Like what is your
minus. A
yeah.
minus. I, I I think it's too high, because I think A is getting into the playoffs. I think I could say B. I could say B plus. Right? It's a B plus. B plus. I could lean towards B plus, and what you overcame. What the team overcame, and I get that. But A minus, man, like you're
I'm gonna be a
acing
nerd about this.
it's an A.
Yeah.
No, no,
Mm-mm.
no. You
I'm
lost.
gonna be a
You lost how many in a row? No.
I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna be a nerd about this. You
Okay.
failed the first half of the season. You went 1-6 first half of the season. That's failing. You got an F, fat F. You are no longer eligible for an A grade, no matter what you do the rest of the season.
Can't.
You're not eligible. And as good as they played down the stretch, they didn't play like perfectly every game. Carolina, they dropped the ball very badly. You let one kind of get away with Buffalo a little bit. Some would argue that you probably shouldn't have even been in that game, but you were, and but you didn't win that one either. And so I'm with you. Like I lean closer to like B, maybe B minus if I'm being like a little more pessimistic. I don't think I can get to B plus. B plus is too close to A minus for me.
B plus,
B plus
87,
is too close. Like an
87 and a
87.
half.
Yeah, no, it's too close.
You're thinking 85 straight up. 85 to
I'm thinking like
82.
85 to like, yeah, 85 to 82, maybe even
I'm going
81.
I'm staying with B plus because the balls on this team to stick with it and keep grinding. I lean more. I weighted that heavier. I get your point,
No,
but I weighted
sure.
that heavier in my grading scale.
And I think that's fine, right? You're grading more on a curve.
Sure.
I'm looking at it like straight up, like, bro, like if I
I'm a
were
curve, right?
if I were your teacher, like
That's
you
fair.
failed the first semester, you passed. Like, congratulations, you get to go on. But like, no, I can't give you an A. I can't give you a high B grade because like you like the first half was so rough. And I think all of us as Lions fans, like when we look at this team, like that becomes like the main thing that we become concerned about going into next season is like, hey, can they start fast? Because you can't go into season after season with large losing streaks like that and then expect to like squeak into the playoffs near the end, right? Like obviously you want to be playing your best football come, December going into January and February and things of that nature, but like I also want a consistent football team. I want to know what I'm getting every single week. And again, A minus kind of tells me that you were more consistent than you're not. And I think like I feel like that's a phony grade. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just say that's a phony grade.
What's a phony grade?
A minus,
Yeah, no, no, yeah,
that's somebody been hitting the Kool-Aid a little too hard
a little bit.
for an A minus.
Drunk on that Blue Aid. Yeah, it's
Oh, and Mike
pretty.
makes a good point.
What?
They gave Carolina a C. In the same grading scale,
The
Carolina got
Carolina
a
game
C.
makes the season AC. No, he's saying the
Oh,
Carolina
yeah,
game makes the season a C.
that's fair too. I think Carolina did get a C though. Like they got a much lower grade than us, and like I don't know. Like I was just like,
Bias. We're
this
gonna have to
isn't
do
fair.
some. We're gonna do some research. We're gonna do some research on 33. What is it called again?
The 33rd team.
The 33rd team. Yeah, we'll have to do some research. Do some digging. How many Lions?
But Mike, that's a good call. Like I think with how bad they played, like that's again, like you were on your they
You're
were on their way to maybe even having an A second half, and then they stunk it up against Carolina, and it's like, well, now I got to drop you like a whole letter grade.
Yeah. Okay, that would. Yeah.
I'm a tough grader, man. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's fair. I'm generous though. I'm generous. I'm a lover. So
No,
like,
and I get it. Like again, like I'm not gonna argue with anybody too badly. If you want to say B plus, I
yeah, I would
think
say
I
BB
can't.
plus. That's where I landed. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I'm gonna
can't go to
stick
B
with it.
plus,
I'm gonna stick with it
but I mean it's fine. It's still in the B's.
because I mean, yeah, we lost. It was. I mean, if we don't have to get into it, we all know this. It lost. It was close, but we still lost. And losing is losing, and this is a winners league.
And the
So
Jets game was a little sloppy. Like I mean, like and again, I'm looking at the Carolina, but the Jets game was a little sloppy. Like I said, you fumbled one against the Bills when you had every opportunity to win that game.
yeah, that's true. But I think timing wise, and I think the Carolina game, as much as that was a horrible showing, I think that was important for the Lions to have that loss. I mean, it was. I mean, it sucks. We could have been in the playoffs, but for them to lose and like really lose, I mean, they had to
Yeah, no,
snap the
they
hell out
absolutely
of
did.
it.
They
And
absolutely did.
sometimes just in playing high competitive levels, sometimes you need that. Like they're feeling themselves, and yeah, you got worked in Carolina, and then blame the field. Like that's really what upset me. That actually, them blaming the field, that would drop that to me would drop the grade. Not even the game, just their attitude.
So you're back in the B range with me.
B, I'm B
B,
now. B,
yeah.
like 86 though, not an 85, like an 86.
I mean, again,
Anyways,
that's
still
fair. I
what
mean,
it
again,
is.
considering again, this team was dead in the water. So like that's why I still keep them in the B's because you were dead in the water and you did make a late playoff push near the end. I'm not gonna be super disrespectful and give you a flat
Yeah,
out C
no, don't
because
do
I
that.
think you did. You were better than average at like later parts of the season.
Yes, Mike, the trenches did get smashed.
Absolutely destroyed.
Oh, but again, please throw out questions if you got them. We appreciate all you guys hanging out tonight, guys and girls, everybody,
Also,
everyone
make sure
who's
to hit
here.
that like button if you're hanging
Yeah,
out with us
please
in the
like and
chat. We do
subscribe for
greatly
sure.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Um, all right. So yeah, that's the draft grade, or that's the season grade that 33rd team gave. let's dive into the thing that we basically did last week, which is last week we went through the entire offensive side of the ball for the Lions, kind of picked it apart, said where we thought they needed some improvements, talked about some players that may end up getting cut or may stay, or positions that you may need to draft for. This week we're going to do the exact same thing for the defensive side of the ball. And again, who knows how things are going to play out, right? Free agency doesn't start for another month, not quite a month. It's for like a couple weeks. It starts around March 15th. The draft is even further away. We still have to do combine. There's a lot of stuff to go along in the draft process. But looking at the team as it currently stands, we're just going to go through it and just kind of talk about each position group and just give our thoughts on where, we think the team currently stands. Feel free to disagree with us in the chat. If you have a question, if you have a counterpoint, definitely throw that in the chat so we can kind of get that in the mix with the show as well. But Scotty, let's start with the defensive end edge group. Very young group, like we talked about
Right.
earlier. You have Aiden Hutchinson, you have James Houston, who were clearly your two biggest contributors on the edge of this past season. You also got Romeo Okwara back later in the season from his Achilles injury. Was able to get 2 sacks in the game that he was in. Julian Okwara continues to still kind of struggle along, and he kind of once again suffered an injury and was out for a good portion of the season. Charles Harris got paid, got injured, didn't get to contribute nearly as much. When you look at that group, I mean, what's the first thing that kind of comes to mind to you?
The first thing that comes to mind is where's Gian? I want Gian here for this conversation. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I'm sorry. I want him to come in and talk about everything he talked about last offseason. Yeah, I don't see, this is something where I'm a little bit not wishy-washy on, but like I don't know, man. I know we've talked about this a bunch too. Like, I want to go back to you in regards to it first. Like,
Okay.
what, really, where do you see it?
I
Because
feel really good about this group. Like,
okay,
and just being straight up honest, like I feel really good about this group. I think you have a good mixture between veterans and young players. Obviously, Aiden is your star defensive end. You have James Houston who really came on, and you're going to obviously have to see if he continues to develop and hopefully like offenses don't figure him out and figure out how to stalemate him. I doubt it because he seems to be a very crafty pass rusher. But then you still have some veteran depth. Now, I think you have to make a decision between Romeo and Charles Harris,
that's what I'm saying.
like two guys that got pretty nice extensions off after coming off of really impressive years, but then they both suffered injuries. And so now what do you do? Obviously, Romeo's injury is way more serious than Charles
Yeah,
Harris, but Romeo was at least able to come back and was able to at least be productive. Between the two of them, I tend to lean more towards keeping Romeo because I think Romeo, even if he can't get back to like double digit sacks type of guy, he can still be a contributor off the bench, third down situations, and just really good, like, be a really good pass rusher in those situations. Maybe not again double digit sacks, but he can still go out there and probably get you 4 or 5 over the course of a season. Charles Harris, I said it last year. I thought Charles Harris was a little bit of a flash in the pan. They were going to end up paying him, and then I just didn't think he would be able to replicate that same type of success. And that's kind of what happened. Obviously, it's an injury and it's kind of a freak accident type of thing,
yeah,
but I don't have a huge amount of faith in Charles Harris. So that does kind of open the door to either get another veteran piece in free agency or decide to draft someone in the draft. But if I feel like if you're going to draft someone, I would much rather them do that like third, fourth, maybe fifth round instead of like first 2 rounds.
yeah. I mean, I think that there's enough talent where you can get them at least in the second. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if they're
Yeah.
gonna reach, like, okay, maybe the second. Yeah, I agree with the Romeo thing. I mean, yeah. Um, Kaminsky was great.
Minsky was great, and he was
You
kind of your
know,
hybrid piece of playing edge, playing
Kaminsky was
defensive
yeah,
tackle.
Kaminsky was great. Like I was surprised how well Aiden did when Kaminsky was in. I think that he's a big piece, but like, and why I was saying wishy washy earlier, it's just like the injury bug of this group, a little bit, and so getting depth in it, yeah, but like we need to keep the talent level right. So
Hmm.
how much do we invest in it? I think we have to, right? This is a big part, and to your point in free agency, who can we snag? Like, can we get somebody off? Like where
Can you
can
find
we
another Charles
go?
Harris, essentially? Like,
Kind
can you find
of
another
like
like bargain bin defensive end who's
yeah,
maybe not like been the best, but
no, but you
like,
need to try hard. You need to try. You need a Dan Campbell guy, right?
yeah, you need a. I mean, again, like, right, it's another Charles Harris, it's another Kaminsky, somebody that can come in and just kind of be in the mix and make things happen at that position. I think as far as the draft goes, like I said, I would look for them to kind of address that position in the third or fourth round. There is a guy out of USC that I think is really good. I think his name is Tui Tulupo. Man, it's one of those
Uh-oh.
Polynesian names.
Uh-oh.
It is, yeah, no,
Yeah, I know
it's one
who
of those.
I know who you're talking about though. Yeah.
That dude he reminds me a lot of John Kaminsky,
Is
right? Bigger defensive end, but he can also play defensive
is he out
tackle.
of Oregon?
USC.
USC? Okay.
Dude is a dude is a monster. I think he just had 14 and a half sacks on this past season. Like, dude can get after the quarterback. He seems to have a motor. So I think if you wanted to invest into the defensive end group and find someone like you're talking about, right? Somebody that can be high motor, high energy, and probably fill a role and probably learn under a veteran like John Kaminsky, that's a name that I would probably throw out there.
I'm with it.
Um, Next up, we got the defensive tackle group. Now, this is a group that like you said, this is a group that you would address at six if you could, whether it's trading up or just taking someone at six. Um, Obviously, we have Aleem, we have Isaiah Buggs. Josh Pascal played a little bit of defensive tackle in certain packages and things of that nature. Um, I believe they also picked up Benito Jones from Miami at one point in time during the early parts of the season. And then John Kaminsky also played defensive tackle in a couple packages, like we stated.
He did.
This is a group that, like, to your point, does need a lot of TLC. It needs a lot of TLC.
But they did well, right? So I'll hop in here.
Yes.
They did well though. But can we get that guy? Do you know what I mean? Like Bugs was that guy for a second. Aleem had moments, right? We saw flashes, right? We saw kind of getting together at the end of the season, kind of making shit happen. Like they were doing that. And yes, I'm sure they can continue, pushing that boulder uphill. But I think this is where I'd love to see that game wrecker, show up. Like, where the guy that you can count on that's going to make that play, right? And maybe one of these guys can, maybe Bugs can make that happen. I just don't know. I don't think so. We would have seen more of it. So it does need some TLC for sure. I don't care where you get it. I don't care where you find it.
Yeah, I think that's the group that, again, from a talent standpoint, could use a huge upgrade, because I think Aleem and Isaiah Buggs both are solid players. They are very good at what they do. Aleem is probably a little bit better just because of, just youth. He's a little more athletic. But they are both very good at what they do, which is specifically stopping the run. So it's like you have that in the bag with both of these players. I think where things get a little tricky is, can you create enough chaos and enough havoc in the middle consistently? Because like you said, Aleem had a couple games where, like, he's quick off the snap, in the backfield, stuffing a run. But then there's also games where, like, he doesn't really show up. And not saying that
where were you? But
like, you would like to have a little more consistency in that situation. And I think that drive me back to a guy like Daron Payne and realizing that, like, hey, it's a premium price tag going to be placed on his name, but could he make life easier for everyone else on that defense? Could he make life easier for Aiden? Can he make life easier for your linebackers and for your secondary? I think Deron Payne has that type of play to him where you can put him next to Aleem, so you still have a dominant run stuffer, and you have a do-it-all guy in him, where Deron Payne can both stop the run and get after the pass rusher, or get after the passer in no matter what type of formation you have. He's somebody that you can kind of keep on the field consistently.
I love Payne.
Also, just a great name.
He'd be a great line.
And also harking back to that, Deron Payne was somebody I wanted back when he was in the draft. And I was just like, the Lions would never have an opportunity to get him. But it would be great if that came full circle.
I mean, we could make the best shirts for him, too.
Yeah. I think, again, from like a couple, like a little bit of research I've done and reading I've done on as far as like the defensive tackle group and the draft, again, like I said earlier, I feel like it's Jalen Carter and then there's everyone else. I think, too, from what I've been hearing people say that a lot of people are talking up, is Kalijah Kancey out of Pitt. The only knock on Kalijah Kancey, he's 6 feet tall. Like, that's the only knock on him. But from, like, a tape standpoint, from just, like, watching how he plays the game, dude is a monster. And it makes people get prickly because they want to throw out the Aaron Donald name, but they're just like, they know they kind of can't.
You can't.
But the dude's a monster, man.
Well,
and so it makes you wonder, like,
I'm curious on the Lions' grade of him, though, right? And what they see. And
yeah.
And I would love to see, and this is what I can't wait for. This is my favorite part, is watching the interviews from the combine. I was a huge Kirby fan because of his interview, right? Not this, I mean, his tape was good, but after I saw his interview at the combine, I like watching that to get to know these guys' personality. Because he was like, he was all dog in there. You know what I mean? He's like, I'll do it all.
All confidence, all swag.
Like that's it. And you saw it as soon as he got comfortable, right? As soon as they got in the rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, Aiden just said all the right things. Like, okay, like his play spoke for itself at the end, but Kirby was letting you know he was going to do it, and he did. You know, so that was fun. So I'm curious to see his interview with the Lions, right? I'm sure they'll meet with him. So.
I think so. I think you have to do your due diligence because, again,
sure. I mean, they meet with so many people.
If
they're at the combine too, though, that's the other thing.
Oh no, Kalijah Kancey will be there.
Yeah, I get that, but you know how people sometimes that something happens.
Oh yeah, they don't make time for that interview. Yeah. But no, I think like if you're the Lions, I think you're trying to interview every defensive tackle that's there if you can, right? Because it's a position of need. So getting a good eye, getting a good evaluation of Kalijah Kancey and figuring out what he does well and how does he compensate for his size, I think. And again, it's a big deal because I think Aleem is technically undersized already. So if you're talking about putting two undersized defensive tackles next to each other, you have to be very confident in their ability to hold up to double teams and hold up to one-on-one blocks against guys that are going to be bigger than them. And what is going to be their calling card. Again, Aleem, it seems to be strength, right? Strength, and he's a little more nimble than your average guy. Can Kalijah Kancey be that as well? It looks like it. Looks like it, at least from a tape standpoint. It just becomes a matter of development and getting the very best out of him. Not saying that he'll be a stud from day one, but he's somebody that if you're looking in the draft, that's somebody that I would pinpoint.
Yeah,
you can't get Jalen Carter.
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know that we can. It already seems messy up in 3 and 4 right now, a little bit. So if that's the case, and we don't want to give it all away, right? I mean,
and 6 would be high for Kalijah Kancey. I think, like, again, that's another. It would be a name that would make people gasp, like, "Whoa, that's really high for that kid." But if again, it goes back to what you were saying. If Brad Holmes feels confident in his evaluation of him, I mean, the tape is awesome. It really is. Like, if he was 2 inches taller, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
Yeah, see, and that goes back to, I'm with you. It also goes back to the draft strategy, right? If they are going to draft the best player available at their picks, and that's what's up for now, then, they're going to pick whoever it is the best available. But if they have their guys, which I think the Lions do. They pick their guys. They go through. They do their due diligence, and they have their roster that they want. They'll move, and maybe we can move back a couple spots and get something for it, and still get, who we want, depending on who that is. Right? Again, lots going to change between now and then, but
yeah,
man.
So
the
next
draft
we
just
got,
be tomorrow. I'm just want to see.
I know, right?
It's like Christmas.
Yeah,
Feels that far away too.
but all right. So next up we got the linebacker group.
Help!
That's enough, right?
I mean, somebody help.
That's this entire defense, but like you get to certain groups and it's like your ears kind of perk up, like, yeah, like where's the help coming? Because this is another group that, like, similar to the defensive tackle group, where like they did enough in spots, but at the same time you're like, but this linebacker group doesn't seem like the group that can like take you to a Super Bowl.
Like, I like Anzalone a lot, but he's not the guy. That's right.
Right. Anzalone, Rodrigo, like
Malcolm did great and then got injured. You know what I mean? It's his rookie year. Like, of course, you're flying around the way you were. Of course, you're going to, unfortunately, get hurt. I mean, he was all over the place, and I love that, right? Both he and Aiden were flying all over, trying to figure it out, and they both got, they both tweaked things, and hopefully they can fix that, solve it. But I thought Malcolm had a better first half of the season than second. I'm sure that had to do with his injury and his arm, his elbow, I believe.
Yeah, it was his elbow. I also think, like, again, we talk about being able to figure out, like, offenses figuring out defenses. Again, this isn't a knock on Malcolm at all, but like there is a height discrepancy, right? Like he's shorter than your average linebacker. Obviously, he compensates that by being a smart player and by being quick to the point of attack and things of that nature. But it gets to a point where like offenses know how to attack you, whether it's putting you in coverage situations where you have to cover tight ends that clearly have like a 5-6 inch advantage over you, or again, just running away from you and putting a wall in front of you to where you're not able to be as disruptive as you were in the first half. And so I think that's good.
No, I was just going to ask, who's your favorite linebacker in the NFL right now? Kind of a random question, but who's your favorite?
My favorite right now?
Yeah.
I'm probably cheating a little bit, but I love Fred Warner. I'm probably cheating a little because like Fred Warner's really good.
Who everybody listening out there, who's your favorite linebacker right now in the NFL? I'm curious to see who's out there that you guys really think. A, who's your favorite linebacker out there right now? And B, what linebacker out there right now do you want to see on the lines? Like, I'd be curious to, those that are listening, who do you think? I'm just curious because we need a ton of help. I mean, look at Hard Knocks, right? It's right off the bat. It's like, you let this rookie, like get the job. I mean, Malcolm, it was a problem. It's been a problem. So, yeah. So anyway,
no,
if you guys have anything, throw it in the chat.
But I think that's the other issue with that group is that while Alex is serviceable, Malcolm is young and still developing. Derek Barnes seems like he's like on the rise, but it's a slow climb so far. In his first 2 years, it feels like a very slow climb for Derek Barnes. And then like after that, like you need depth. Like Chris Board, who was the other linebacker they had? They had some good special teams guys. And again, you have to have those guys on your team for the sake of special teams. But at the same time, you also want a linebacker, whether it's in the middle or somewhere in that group where you're just like, no, but we can count on that guy at play in and play out.
Right.
And I think, like I said, like my favorite is Fred Warner. Currently, my favorite linebacker of all time is Ray Lewis.
Well, right.
And so like it's obviously like you're not gonna find Ray Lewis's like any given draft or any given week or year in the NFL. But like when I think about high level linebacker play, like that's what it looks like. And so the Lions haven't had that for a really long time. And I think that's something that like I don't know. I don't know how big of a priority it is for them because so far in the last two drafts, they drafted a linebacker in the fourth round in Derek Barnes, and they drafted Malcolm Rodriguez in the sixth round. So they have yet to spend a high draft pick on a linebacker. We will see in this upcoming draft if that's the case. And again, we've seen them go bargain bin shopping for the linebacker position. They signed Alex Anzalone, they signed Chris Board, and I am literally like blanking on the other linebacker that they signed. But like they don't spend heavy on that group.
No, they don't. Demario Davis is pretty good.
Demario Davis is really good. He's another really good linebacker that again plays the position the right way.
Yeah, I mean Micah Parsons.
Mike, I agree with you. There's only one Ray Lewis. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, but it's just like again, when you think of like high level play at certain positions, like certain players come to mind, and you just kind of sit there and you're just like, man, like if the Lions could get like a fraction of a Ray Lewis.
Ooh, Roquan Smith.
Roquan Smith was a really good one. Yeah, that like I remember when he was requesting his trade, and obviously like obviously the Bears probably weren't going to trade him in division, but I remember kind of sitting there like, dude, I would make an offer.
I mean, younger Bobby Wagner too.
Yeah, younger Bobby Wagner was a monster.
Yeah, it's a beast. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail us there, but I was curious in thinking about that position, right? To really kind of just wrap our heads around it. I mean, who's the guy in Cleveland? Who's the Cleveland? It's Cleveland Browns.
Owosu Koromora? Oh man.
No,
is that the guy you're thinking about?
Not Collins, is it?
I don't know. Like that's the other thing too. Like I don't.
Jamie Collins? No. Sorry, guys. Anyway, no. Anyway, forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it.
Here, and we let him go.
What about Hightower in New England?
Yeah. I don't know.
Bargain bin shopper?
I don't know. It's just like he played in New England, so he's probably big and slow. Right?
It would be a Patricia move for sure.
So anyway, that would be my. All right, so let's move to corners.
Lions need everything on D except safety. Okay,
that's fair.
That's my.
Because I was gonna say the corner group is the same.
Move on. That's what he's saying. Move on. We're still
the cornerback group is the same as the last two, right? Where it's like you're immediately yelling for help.
Yeah,
because
I gotta get
Okudah had a strong start to the season, and then faded quickly. It felt like. And again, I don't know how much.
That's because of the injury. Achilles injury had it. There's no way he could go through a full season. His calf, not gonna happen. I'm happy with the way he played with that. Those are hard injuries to come back from, so I'm not shocked.
That's kind of my initial impression as well. Was like, I don't know. I've never had the injury, but it just feels like the type of injury that that slowly eats away at you, eats away at your fatigue and your stamina and things of that nature. To where like. You just probably can't go every week at that same level of intensity because you haven't done it.
It's not. It's also pain tolerance. It's so sore. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I had my injury, about a decade ago now, and it's still sore. Like just weather change, it's sore. Mm-hmm. Like you. I mean, and I know all these guys are sore and they're beat up and they're dealing with it, but that's one of the biggest tendons in your body, and that thing you hit it every day, right? Upper body, you don't have to. You're not putting weight on it. Mm-hmm. And especially at his position, like the weight and planning off that, I mean, that's just
change of direction.
Yeah,
having to drive to make a tackle,
running backwards. I mean, at least in college and for soccer, I'm running forwards. I'm not running backwards. I'm running straight. You know what I mean? Like that didn't. But you're backpedaling, and that hurts. So anyway,
yeah. No, so I think obviously that was Jeff's story. Amani took a huge step back.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people, I mean, and rightfully so, right? If we're just strictly going off of how he played this year and getting benched and basically never getting that job back, except when injury occurred, there's a lot of people that are like, don't bring Amani back.
Mm,
But part of me is like, does how do I am very curious on how Brad and the coaching staff view Amani's season, right? Is it because I don't know. I don't know how you go from having 6 picks one year to getting benched the other. I genuinely don't know if that's like serious regression, if there's something else going on. I don't know if they look at it as like, well,
I think we'll
like
know. I agree with you, but I think we'll know whether he's on the team or not. If there was extenuating circumstances that affected that, then I think he will remain on the team. Otherwise, if that's performance based, he should be gone. Correct?
so. I mean, no. I think if you think that this year was a more realistic representation of Amani's play style, then yeah, I think he's gone. But if you think like he just had one of like a really bad season, then I don't know. Like maybe you don't completely abandon him, but I don't know what you offer him because he's a free agent. So like
Yeah.
what's the deal you craft for somebody like that to where you protect yourself as the team, but don't like again and not tie your hands so much to where like, you know, you're strapped for years to come with a player that's clearly regressing.
Mike.
So yeah, Mike, I'm one, don't bring Amani back. Like
Yes,
again,
definite. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so torn on Amani because like
We'll need the roster space.
well, neither roster space, but I just remember like I look back at Amani and I'm like his first couple years he was making progress. This is a huge just drop in performance, and
Off
I'm
a
just not
cliff.
sure like is that a blip on the map or is this the real Amani? And if it's the real Amani, like I said, like cut him. Like don't or not cut him, but like don't re-sign him. You don't have to. And you may not even have to worry about it because somebody else may believe in Amani more and they offer him a ridiculous deal that he probably shouldn't get. But I think with this group in particular, like this cornerback room is gonna look drastically different next year. Because I think outside of Jeff and outside of Jerry Jacobs,
Hope so.
I don't know who else is guaranteed a spot back. And Chase Lucas will obviously be back on the team. Like outside of those three guys, I don't know who else is like guaranteed a spot.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are. I think that's pretty
I
much
mean,
it.
like we as a
I mean,
fan, like I
right?
mean,
Like what
I'm not gonna say we. A lot of the fan base has been calling for Will Harris to get cut for years, and they might get their wish this year because I do think there's going to be some type of internal look at that group and be like, just revamp the whole thing.
I mean, do you really think they're going to revamp the whole thing?
Yeah, because I think you have one. I think you have the draft picks to do so. I think you also have enough cap space to where you could go out there and again find a veteran, right? You go
Yeah.
out there, you draft someone that you believe in, think that that you can plug and play next to Jeff. You go out there, you draft somebody in the first round, whether that's at 6, whether that's at 18. You probably draft another corner somewhere in the later round, somewhere in the fourth, maybe fifth round, and just like that, you have a new cornerback room. It's young,
Yeah, it's
absolutely going to be
yeah,
young,
it's gonna be
but
young. If we can get that vet though, let's get that vet. I guess.
I
I
think,
don't know
but
that.
I
Yeah, I don't think the Ramsey thing will happen, but I've seen weirder stuff happen, but I don't think
but I
that's.
mean, yeah, whether it's Ramsey, whether it's a draft pick, whether it's
I don't think Ramsey leaves LA.
re-signing a guy, like I said, I could see them re-sign Amani, but it's going to be like a super like it's going to be like a 1 year
Yeah,
$6 million deal, something
1
like
year,
very prove it
prove it.
based.
Yep, yep.
And
Okay.
again, you take that gamble because the thing that's funny is whether it's Amani or not, you're going to be in the same situation next year with Jeff.
Yeah,
Like
we'll see. Well,
Jeff is about to go into a prove it year.
this is his prove it year. Yeah, he gets this is last shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
if he
so
doesn't deliver the goods, I think we move on from that and we don't have to have that conversation anymore.
yeah. So me personally, like again, my strategy, how what I would like to see the Lions do is again go into free agency, find you a veteran, find whether it's someone on the like level of Mike Hughes, so someone that's played a bunch in the secondary, draft sign that guy, go into the draft and draft two guys. Somebody in the first, someone in the I honestly don't care. Like you could literally draft back to back corners in the first round, and I would be okay with it. Dead
I,
serious.
I'm I'm not there, but I understand your point.
I'm just saying, like, if they came out of that draft with Devin Witherspoon and I don't know, Joey Porter Jr. as your corners, like, awesome.
Oh
Let's
my
go.
gosh. Okay. That's definitely questionable.
I'll take it. Like, but Mike saying 49ers won a Super Bowl once with three rookies starting in their secondary, once in the 80s. So I mean, and I think that's the other thing too. Like, you can't kind of be like scared to have like these young guys in the secondary. I think Seattle had a young secondary last year. I believe Kansas City went to the Super Bowl with a young secondary. Like, other parts of your defense can overcompensate for like a younger area, right? So like we're talking about like they seem to be very strong on their edge positions.
We're getting raided by Pride of Detroit right now. I just had a heart attack. The boom.
Yo,
there
that's
they
what's
are.
up,
What's up,
man.
fam?
Appreciate everybody from Pride of Detroit. Thank you guys for the raid. Oh man, first raid. That's what's up, man.
We have an echo. Oh, that's probably my computer. Yeah.
It threw you off that much. Like now you're just like, oh, and now your mic's out. Pride of Detroit raided us and completely broke Scotty's entire audio system. So
No, that
yeah,
should be
there's
better.
that. I love that like our first raid breaks everything.
I love it. Totally crushed. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, fam. Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what's up. We were just wrapping up talking about the defense.
Yeah, so I mean, we were just kind of wrapping up with the corners where again, I mean, group is completely being reworked.
Oh, Meko,
For everybody,
they say you have an echo.
I have an echo.
That's
I probably
okay.
do.
Yeah, I can't hear it. You might be in your AirPods. It's all right, guys. We're working it out. We're working it out. Third live. Appreciate the raid, shakedown, feedback. Keep it coming.
But
MCDC all day. Can't even
it's just
focus with all
MCDC
this.
just jumping up.
Yeah. It's MCDC all day, you guys. Oh, this is amazing. We appreciate you, fam. Man. So we were talking about a little bit. Oh my gosh. We were going through the defense this week. Off-season preview. We went through all the players. We were just wrapping up. We're getting to this. We went through the edge, D tackles, linebackers, cornerbacks, and we were just going to wrap up with a safety, and then the punter, kicker, and long snapper.
All right, I'm gonna just skip the punter, kicker, long snapper real quick.
You guys can catch the end of this.
Punter, kicker, long snapper.
I am going to put Meko on the spot. He did say that if we went with, two CBs in the first round, are you okay with it?
I would be.
Yeah.
Tell me that you wouldn't be like anybody can say that I'm like crazy for saying that, but I think like if again the right corners. I'm not saying like just any corners, but like if you could get Devin Witherspoon at 6, get Christian Gonzalez at 18 or something crazy, or Joey Porter Jr. at 18. Take it.
Yeah, we were talking about how much help that room needed, so that's where that came from. All right, so now kicker, punter, long snapper. So all right, so Meko, lead us off. Talk to the crew with the echo.
I mean, kicker is the only one that I think you kind of like got to make a decision, but I think for just like continuity standpoint, just because like Michael Badgley like was solid, like, obviously like you just kind of roll with it. Or you can like draft Jake Moody.
Do you really think? No, do you really think that? I mean, what are your thoughts on Moody? Oh my gosh, I keep hearing it.
I hate his mustache.
Oh, he's gonna have to shave. I mean, they'll make him shave it. He's not keeping.
No, they're not. He's keeping that.
You think that they're gonna let him keep that? You know,
they will let him keep it. They will let him keep his Dr. Robotnik mustache that he's got going.
Kicker
Absolutely.
in the second, Jay Book. Okay. I mean, oh man, Campbell would love it. We'll fix the echo, guys. We're shaking it down. We got to get a new computer. I got to get a new board. A lot of stuff. We're going live. We appreciate the support though. Appreciate your patience. We'll fix that echo. but yeah, we were just wrapping up. I mean, honestly, we appreciate the raid. I don't even know what to do with it, you guys.
Well, we got to go back to safety because like I
Oh,
jumped to
okay.
punter,
Oh, did I
kicker, long
jump?
snapper.
Okay.
But like, no, we can wrap things up with safety really quick. I think safety is the one position on this defense where you feel confident, right? You have Tracy will be coming back from injury, so obviously we have to see how he kind of adjusts back from his Achilles injury, but he seems to be progressing well based off of everything we're seeing from his videos on social media. And then following that, you have Kirby. Kirby's doing really well. And I think a lot of people are also, when it comes to Deshaun Elliott, people are open to Deshaun Elliott coming back. It just becomes a thing of like, where do you play all three of those guys? Because all three of them can make an impact on the game defensively.
I'm going through the chats. I'm distracted now.
Okay, well, we kind of still got to have a show. So,
Yep. Nope. It's all good. Um, so, oh man. So I don't know, and I'm not gonna like lie about it. Like I'm not like too sure about the safeties in this class, right? For the draft class. Like I don't know a ton about the safeties. In general, really. Like I know that I know Tracy Walker, right? I think we're okay. Like I don't know that we need to. I know our entire defense needs help, but I would focus other areas. I think we're okay. I mean,
yeah, the only thing I would say, the only player, if we're talking draft, that like tempts me at the safety position is Brian Branch out of
Brian
Alabama.
Branch, he's good. Yeah,
And he can kind of play everywhere in your secondary. He can play safety. He can also play nickel.
that's kind of what we need,
So,
though, right? Like
I mean, that would be
that
the
would
thing
be
that would be
good.
fun.
Yeah,
And I think that would be the answer if you're in a camp of like, hey, don't re-sign Deshaun Elliott, then I think that would be the reason why is like, well, because we can get a guy like Brian Branch who can come in and be a safety, but also play nickel in the meantime. And so like then you're kind of you have like again, you have a very stacked safety room with guys that can make plays all over the field.
I mean, and that's all we need, right? Like we just have to have the group. Like it's just a little bit of help there, right? I think, like we talked about, the quarterbacks need a lot of help. Linebackers need help, right? But like this, I feel like this is more of like let's sprinkle some fairy dust on it, as compared to the other groups. So
No, I agree 100%.
yeah, and so I apologize for that. I am ADD. For those that don't know me, I'm very ADD, and this is crazy. So that's what happened there. Last time you get me, POD. I'm gonna be prepared next time. Jeez. Oh. But yeah, I mean that's like really, Meko. Like I just don't think there's a ton. I mean, I really think we need to fix that cornerback room. Like priorities. Like I just don't think we can fix everything in the draft.
They're
And in
not going to
free
fix
agency.
everything in the draft. They're also not going to
Yeah.
fix everything in the offseason. But I think the two areas that need to be a focus, like I said, like I think you need to come away from free agency with a difference maker in your for your defensive tackle group. I think you need to go into the draft and you need to come out of that draft with at least two cornerbacks that can be serviceable. Again, I'm open to them taking two in the first round if they have two
Right.
guys that they really like. But again, I think you need to take one early, and I think you can probably afford to take one later. And then I don't know what the hell they do at linebacker. I'm gonna be just
I know.
honest. I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, for all those that rated, all right, we were talking about linebacker earlier. We don't know what do you guys think? Like, hit us up here. Like we were asking, the 12 listed previously, so we got a couple more now. So throughout, we were talking about actually who our favorite linebackers were currently, but what do you think what linebackers would you like the Lions to go out and try and get in free agency? And do you have any favorite in the draft? Trenton Simpson in the second.
I like Trenton Simpson. I do. He's got the size. He's got the versatility. Um, like I said, my only hesitancy is that like Detroit has so far under Brad Holmes hasn't prioritized linebacker highly. And that's my only like caveat to that. Not saying that he won't do it this year, but so far he just hasn't done it in my opinion. It's been a lot of late round draft picks
Yeah.
and a lot of bargain bin shopping in free agency.
He also says Shaq from Carolina.
Okay. Shaq Lawson is absolutely like a good, again, versatile, proven defensive or proven linebacker who can kind of make plays all over the field. Wouldn't hate it. Would love to have Shaq.
And then Jay Pook's like, nah, bring back Anzalone, develop the guys on the roster, let Holmes cook late.
And my only thing with this is like, I'm all good with development, right? My only problem is this. Derek Barnes is developing very slowly. I think Malcolm Rodriguez has a ceiling. I just do. And I think he can be very good in some areas, but I think he's always going to be a little bit of a liability in the pass game. I think Alex is a perfect leader for that group currently. Um, and then like nobody else in that group, like I really like is like really moved the needle for me. Chris Board was very much just like it was one of those like, oh, he made a play. Like, oh, I didn't even know Chris Board was on the field type of situation. But
Yeah.
like that group needs a lot of help too, but I just don't know how they address it and fix it.
Yeah. TJ Edwards would be a dream. Toiletries.
TJ Edwards is really good. What does everybody think about Jack Campbell out of Iowa?
Jack Campbell.
Jack Campbell is someone that, again, from what I've been hearing, he's kind of like your prototypical linebacker, but he doesn't scream athleticism or anything like that. He just plays linebacker. Like it's old school throwback. Like you kind of just know he's gonna make some tackles and make a couple plays here and there, but he's not gonna wow you athletically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Alex Anzalone could probably mold fairly well, and he could probably learn a lot from Alex.
Yeah, and so a couple of the listeners saying Barnes came on late. His last 3 games were huge, and it was Barnes' second full season ever at linebacker.
And yeah, and
I mean,
like I
he
said, like
did.
those are all good points.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, actually. Like the end of the season, like they were making moves on the defense. Like it was coming together. Can we keep that going? Can we make sure the ends? I mean, like the edges, like it's health too. Like it just had a little bit of. It just didn't have. I just didn't feel completely confident, right? And I would just love that. And that's what we were talking about earlier today. For those that didn't catch it, roll back to the beginning. But we were talking about who, we would get as a game wrecker. Like really need a game wrecker. Like really want one. Not sure we're gonna get it, but like, who is that game wrecker we need to get on the defensive end, and where are we gonna get him, right? We were talking how muddy it is at 4 and 5 to move up for that. Probably not going to happen, but you never know. And it depends on the grades that Holmes and the team is getting some of these, these players in the draft, right? It's their grades too. And that's one thing is we do trust Holmes and their grading system and how they're evaluating, right? And we do want to go back, and I can't wait to listen to the combine interviews. We were talking about that. Those are fun. But
and see, it looks like Jay Pook is kind of in line with what we're saying. I mean, like you said, grab a major D tackle and a linebacker, and this defense looks a lot better. I think it does. I think you can grab. I think you have to go in free agency and try and address that need there. He also made a good point. Cornerback and safety are far higher value in this defense, and so like that's why I think you can afford to double dip into the cornerback market, or even triple dip into cornerback with the draft and free agency, because that position is so much needed. And I don't know how confident I feel about, again, like we know Jerry Jacobs is going to be there. We know Jeff is going to be on the roster. The rest of that group is kind of in flux.
Another rating party.
Shout out.
These
Alex
things
Reno.
give me heart attacks. I got to change the sound setting in my ear.
Shout out to everybody with the Reno raid. We appreciate you guys. Yo. This is awesome, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys swinging by, giving us a listen, checking us out. Definitely hit the follow button. Give us a nice follow. And we typically stream every Monday around this time. So, yeah.
Louder. Pride of Detroit saying louder.
Louder. I don't know. Pride of Detroit, like when I first started listening to them, they were blowing people's eardrums out with the roar and the Riley.
That's right. Oh, man. So
Oh
that's
man.
2 heart attacks tonight. But thank you, guys. Appreciate it. I'm alive. I feel alive today. It's been a crazy day in general. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so that kind of, I mean, you guys rolled over, and we're kind of wrapping up. Is there anything else we want to touch on while they're all here, Miko? I don't know.
Nah, man. I mean, since most of this audience is from Pride Detroit as well as the Reno Raid, we want to like again, huge shout out to you guys. Um, we do plan on having some guests in the next couple week. I've already reached out to since Pride Detroit is here, I've reached out to a couple guys over there. They're gonna come by, help educate us, have some really good conversation about Lions off season. We're gonna talk some draft, we'll talk free agency. So definitely be plugged in when that rolls around. Um, just ironing out some dates so that we can kind of make sure that we're not inconveniencing anybody when they come by and kick it with us. So we still have that to talk about. Like I said, it's a long off season, guys. So we're gonna have a lot of different things to hit on.
Yeah, I did see McCarty yesterday at the Red Wing alumni game against the PGA. He said he wanted to hop on, so shout out to DMAC. Yeah, so he's been actually checking out what's been going on. So he said he'd come on, so that'll be fun. We can talk, obviously get his opinion on Lions, get a little bit of hockey too. Red Wings making a little run here at the end. Probably won't make the playoffs, but we'll see. Jay Pook, can we start over from the beginning? No.
Not not
No.
unless you want to see my wife come in here and spear me through this window that's next to me, because that's exactly what'll happen.
Yes.
When that woman says she wants to go to bed, I have
That's it. It's over.
I have to oblige.
It's over. Oh man. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, so we'll have Mac on. We're gonna try and get others on as well. So yeah, it'll be a fun off season for sure. I think so. I'll be at the draft again this year. So we're not gonna be at the not Super Bowl, but not the combine. I don't think. But I'm gonna find that out in the next week or so. So if I am there, I'm just wondering what the dates are, and if it's a Monday, we might have to do it remotely there. But the draft, I'll be.
We have to figure out like
in
if we're gonna do
Kansas
like a
City.
draft stream or something like that.
Yeah, we should. We'll get with Jeremy and the guys, because we do need to talk apparel and the new pieces, right? We got to launch those, and we got some new artwork coming out. Lions
We do
gear.
have some new Lions pieces that we talked that
We are
have one that I
definitely
think is really
biased.
dope.
Yeah,
There
definitely
is
biased.
one that is
but
really, really good that we
it's
think that
fun.
you guys are gonna like.
But yeah. So, and then also with everybody here that's listening, right? We're gonna update our channel so y'all get points, bits, and we're gonna do all of that. We're gonna fix a couple audio things, but we appreciate you guys supporting us. So please hit that subscribe button, like button, YouTube, Twitch, and we thank you for the support. But yeah, we're hoping to have a little icing on the cake Monday nights for the Lions, and so we're excited. Just can't wait for the season to start. So draft to happen. Anything else I'm forgetting, Miko? Other than thanking everybody.
Let's get out of here before my wife
walks out on me. Who? All right. So anyway, again, thank you all for cruising in for the raid. Thank you, Pride Detroit. Thank you, everyone. Again, and then next time too, we're gonna work on getting the chat up. So you guys can see everybody and all the questions, and we can track that. So again, we're getting into it, but we appreciate you. Appreciate all support. I want to thank the fam. I want to thank the crew. Miko, I want to thank you. Shout out to Gian. He's taking a couple weeks off, but he'll be back with us later in before the season. But yeah, that's it from me. Miko?
Yeah, no, shout out to everybody that again joined Pride Detroit, Alex Reno for the raids. We appreciate you guys. Again, shout out to our families, shout out to my wife, shout out to my kids. And again, just continue to help us support and continue to support us and continue to help us grow. We are really looking forward to being able to provide some really cool, both Lions content and apparel to you guys as the season kind of starts to creep up on us.
Yeah, redefined questionable tease right here. Teasing.
Got some new stuff for you guys. It's really exciting.
It's coming. All right. Well, we appreciate you all. That is it. This is the Questionable Podcast. Out.